enter and, or average out if you're making a loss?
I would suggest to stay away from the stock, at least from a trading perspective. Now, price wise, yes, at 1600, 1615, Infosys looks very, very attractive compared to what was just about last month, or whether it's the last 3 to 4 months when the stock was at 1900 odd levels. So from that comparison, it looks very attractive in terms of price. But for trading, and for expecting a bounce, you would need momentum. You would need buyers. Now, after the results, etc., many of the traders who have been caught will probably be looking for minor rallies as a good opportunity to try and exit or reduce their positions. So you would need fresh spate of buying for Infosys and for such other large cap IT names to try and get into a strong uptrend. So fighting the trend over here may actually be a futile exercise. I would suggest an avoid unless the stock comes say closer to 1500 or 1525 mark. That would be a good range where one could probably look to build up contra positions on the stock.
This one is from Sushila. She's writing to us from Bellary, and she's saying that she has Tata Steel, which she's purchased at 1,379 rupees per share. She wants to know what sort of targets should she keep in mind for the next 1 year. Kunal?
I would suggest to hold on to Tata Steel, and I think if you bought at high levels of 1370 approximately, then I believe you should look to average out. Maybe at 1250, 1275 could be a good averaging opportunity for Tata Steel. Hold is my recommendation.
Shaina, I'm going to come to you. We have Shanti who's asking about RIL, currently holding around 32 shares of RIL at 2,165 rupees per share for a long term and is looking to accumulate in every correction. Could you help her? Is it good to stay in the stock, and what would be the support levels actually coming in, and how does it look for you?
Yeah, I would suggest she continues holding. Maybe in the very short term, it may consolidate for some time, but in the medium term, I think she will get a nice bounce. She can look for targets in the medium term, maybe around 6 months of 2,670. She can keep a stop loss of 2,485.
This one is from this one is from Colonel Gorpade KN. Apologies, we were not able to take your query earlier. He's saying that he's holding Sun Pharma at an average price of 615 rupees per share since 2015. He wishes to book partial profit as he has a few shares which he had purchased at 875 rupees per share. So he wants to know whether he should sell at around 950 to 1000 levels, or should he continue to hold on to it. He's a long-term investor. Kunal, no doubt he's a long-term investor, but what should he do with his holding on Sun Pharma? Should he look to actually book some partial profits on this one, hold till about 9,000, 10,000, 950 to 1,000 rupees per share levels, or continue to hold on for the longer term?
I would suggest to hold on to long term. I think it's a brilliant stock. It's done, I would say, not just very well, but I think consistently very well over the last 12 months. That was the time period where many of these pharma stocks, after an initial rally, they got into a sluggish downtrend for themselves. So at that point, if a stock manages to outperform, we typically said that that's a stock which can stand to be one of the leaders from the pharma pack. So you are with the leader, you've bought at a very good price. I would suggest to hold on.
Surely hold on to Sun Pharma is what Kunal is saying. Moving on, we have Shanmuga Sundaram, who's asking about Gujarat Gas, right? And they're holding currently 100 shares at 511 rupees per share. Now, it seems to have bottomed out, is what he's saying. Can they add more at these levels, given a 1 year period holding time they have?
Well, I think he should wait for some time if he wants to add, it's a decent stock, but given the volatility in gas prices and whether they're able to pass it on and the impact on demand, I think he should wait to add more. He can add at, maybe levels of, 450 and odds if he really wants to see an upside, a good decent return from here on. And once he, if he adds at those levels, then he could hold it for the medium to longer term and look at a target of somewhere close to 650. But not at the...
I'm sorry, okay. This one is from RK, and this one is for you, Shahina. He's asking, is it advisable to reduce exposure to the IT stocks, especially mid caps, and increase exposure to banks or metal stocks like Hindustan Zinc and Vedanta for the longer term? What's your strategy? You think this one makes sense?
Yeah, I would agree. I think it makes sense. As of now, I would prefer metal stocks over some of the IT stocks. While I'm very positive on the medium to longer term IT stocks, and I see very limited downside for even the large cap and small cap. I don't see a downside of more than 7 to 10% wherever the market goes. So to that extent, they're safe stocks, they're long term stocks. Having said that, if really one wants to see the portfolio do well in the next 6 months, I think you can add some of the metal stocks. My preference would, instead of Vedanta, would be more towards, say, a Nalco or Tata Steel. So to that extent, my preference is slightly different. And also in terms of private sector banking, you can add something like an ICICI Bank. You can add something like an Axis Bank. I think these have given decent levels, are currently at decent levels. Smaller cap, I'm still very positive on DCB Bank. So you have a variety of stocks you can shift into for a kick for your portfolio. If you move a bit away from IT, partially you can move. And this reflects my portfolio to some extent.
Okay, Kunal, Amy has a query, coming, given the current choppy scenario that we're seeing coming in the markets, if they want to play it a bit safe, would it be actually prudent to accumulate index ETFs? And if yes, then should they be accumulating Nifty Bs or Bank Bs or both or nothing?
Yes, I think it's a good strategy to accumulate the index, ETFs, the Nifty Bs at current levels. It's also coincided with the Nifty coming back towards its 200 DMA. So I think we've also managed to come back to those levels. But I believe, that there is also a possibility that the index can remain into a drag mode over here. So possibly that 17,200 mark could act as a pivot, and we may swing some 200, 300 points from this range for maybe over the next couple of weeks. Given the kind of news flow, the events across the geopolitical, etc., that could keep the markets, into a bit of an edge. So an immediate upside is not what I'm expecting on the indices, but purely as a level and as an entry point, I think this could be a good starting point.
Okay, this one is from Dinesh from Andhra Pradesh, and he wants a view on KPIT Tech for the longer term. How does this one look? Shahina, no doubt the tech space is under immense pressure in today's trading session. Do you think that makes sense to look at KPIT Tech for the longer term right now?
Yeah, actually, KPIT is one of the better small cap stocks, mid cap stocks, small to mid cap stocks in the IT space, and one can definitely look at it for the longer term. But I think if you're looking at a very short term or medium term, it, along with the rest of the IT pack, is going to consolidate.
Okay, Kunal, coming to you, talking about Adani Wilmar, we have a couple of queries. One is coming in from Kumar. They are looking to sell 2,000 Adani Wilmar shares at 395 rupees approximately. They are almost 3 months' time. So is that the time to look at it and, sell it? While the other query is actually coming in on whether they should be holding Adani Wilmar. So what is your view coming in on Adani Wilmar?
See, I think it's very difficult to recommend because the chart history is, very small for a stock like Adani Wilmar. But then looking at the chart history for last 2 months, my sense is that it's best to try and have a trading stop loss into this kind of a name because the price upticks have been quite ferocious, on the upside for Adani Wilmar. So I think for someone who's been holding on to the stock at lower levels, you can, continue to hold on. Keep a trailing stop loss, maybe a 600, 620, depending on your comfort level, your risk appetite could be a good trailing stop loss for the stock.
This one is for you. This one is from Sudha and wants to know, should she sell MTAR Tech and instead go ahead and buy Bharat Dynamics, given the price that it is trading at, currently quite a high price for Bharat Dynamics, or should she look to buy Hinzing instead for the longer term? So she wants to go ahead and sell her holdings in MTAR Tech is what I can make of this query. So do you think Bharat Dynamics is a good play, or should it be Hindustan Zinc for the longer term?
Well, I think it's a good decision to switch from the stock, and she has options. I think even she can go in for HAL. I think Hindustan Aeronautics is also a pretty attractive bet, even at current levels, or Hindustan Zinc. I think either of the two look good.
Shana, I'm going to come to you again. Vimla wants to know on Angel One, is it a good time to actually buy this stock? What is the best price to enter it for a medium term?
Yeah, I think it's a decent stock to enter in even at current levels. If I'm entering in current levels, I would look at a target of close to about In fact, I would think the stock can go up to 1,800. You can buy it and hold with a stop of 1,575.
Okay, this next query I have is from Venkat from Hyderabad, and he has a question related to Nazara Tech and Adani Wilmar, which has already been answered, but he wants to know whether it makes sense to enter right now for the longer term. What's your take on Nazara Tech? Shahina, do you think makes sense to enter right now for the longer term?
No, I think the valuations are very, very stretched. It's got very good investors. So I would think it will be consolidating for quite some time. But maybe, if you have any major dip or anything, one can look to enter into that stock as of now. Not now, I mean, if you see a big dip. And as far as Wilmar goes, it's one of those also, like Nazara, that, you can't really talk of valuations. It's more of who's invested in it, and the long-term prospects remain very good and good promoters. So, if you're holding it, just sit and hold it. If you don't hold it as of now, wait for any major correction for whatever reason, and then you can add.
Right. Kunal, the next one is for you. Muthu wants to know your view on Apcotex Industries Limited. What should they be doing with the stock? Any idea on it?
I believe it's a good stock, trended pretty well. I think if I'm not wrong, it's perched at a fresh, multi-month high for itself at 420, 424 levels, where it's currently trading right now. So looks to be very attractive. The chart patterns are quite robust for the stock. If you've bought at lower levels, then I would suggest that you should definitely look to hold on.
Rajni, and she's saying the day before yesterday bought a BLS International at a price of 335 rupees per share. The company has announced 1:1 bonus share issue, but what should the targets be for the short term is what Rajni is asking. Do you track this one, Kunal? Any short term targets that you can share?
Don't track the stock, but then looking at the charts, I think it's just recently given a big breakout of an inverted head and shoulder pattern. I think if I'm not wrong, the stock is trading at 325 something. At current levels. So would suggest a hold on the stock, and if this momentum continues of this big breakout on the long-term charts, then possibly the stock can even head towards 350, 360 over the very near term.
Next one, we have a query coming in from Sagar on Nykaa. He's bought 2,500 shares at around 1,350 levels. What is your long-term view coming in? Should we continue to hold the stock?
The question is for me?
Shaina? Yeah, Shaina.
Yeah. I would book my profits in the stock and wait for any correction to add. I think it is extremely expensive, and the competition in this space is it's going to hot up. So I wouldn't pay such expensive valuations for the stock.
All right, and with that, let's kickstart with our rapid fire then. And this first one is for you, Kunal. This one, Mr. N. Chandrasekharan from Chennai. He's saying that he has 500 shares of Wellspun with an average price of 140 rupees per share. The share is down about 20% from his holding level, so wants to know whether he should average at this level or not, and what sort of target should he keep in mind?
Well, yeah, I think you can average at current levels. 96 approximately is where it's trading. 125 could be the next step.
China BLS International at current market price, how is it looking? Sunita Rai wants to know.
BLS Finance, you're talking of that?
BLS International, yeah.
Sorry, I don't have.
Okay. Kunal, any view on that?
Well, I think, I believe we just discussed that stock. And I mentioned that it looks attractive from a short-term trading play. Trading at 325, would be looking out for 350, 360 as a near-term target.
Okay, this one is from Jagadish, and this is for you, Kunal. Purchase HDFC Bank May futures as a price of 1510, sitting on a loss of about 50,000. Should I exit or wait?
I would believe, I think it would be a good time where you can look to exit. I'm not sure whether the stock has bottomed out or not. I think in this kind of a indecisive environment, it's better to exit.
China, is it a good time to buy KEI Industries? Vishal wants to know for a long-term view.
Yeah, KE Industries, he can buy it, and then you can keep a target of maybe 1,380 with a loss of 1,000.
Okay, this one is from Manoj from Delhi, and Kunal, this one is for you. What's your view on Escorts at current levels? Wants to know whether you should buy or wait, and wants to know this for the medium term.
I would suggest to wait and not rushing on Escorts. I believe that there's too much of corporate action which is going on for the stock price, is impacting on the price. I would suggest away.
Okay, right. And lastly, Kunal, I'm just going to ask you one more. We have HSCL. S. Roy has bought HSCL at 78 rupees. Should they sell or hold for short term?
I would suggest to hold on.
All right, and with that, we come to the end of the rapid fire. Thanks you so much, Kunal, as well as Shahina, for joining us on the show, giving us a take on what the wholesome news flow means for ACC Ambuja, as well as helping our viewers with their queries. But on that note, we are totally, I beg your pardon, we are totally out of time for the queries. But it's time for a break on this edition of Buy Now, Sell Now. We'll be back with more on the other side, so don't go anywhere.